And welcome everybody to yet another Max Resistance Roundtable. The call-in lines are open if you're going to have questions for our guest. This week's guest is the music band Pace House, and 49 also has a special guest which she will introduce in just a moment. The call lines are open. If you have questions, you can call in at 712-432-4365. And if you want to listen via the phone as well, you can listen by calling the number 567-314-9296. And I think it's about much. I wasn't prepared at all, guys. Sorry. 49. If you're ready to take over from here, please take over.
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to thank Brian very much for covering for me while I was gone. I appreciate you guys holding the shows. It was amazing. I listened to them. They were great. Tonight's guest for myself is Ryan Lipinski. He's also known as the Fixed by Doc, and his YouTube channel is Fixed by Doc. And we'll throw some links in the bottom later on for you to see. First, he's a Bachelor of Science Community Health Education. He's focused on health, nutrition, fitness, and a minor in an EMS. Second Bachelor of Science degree was on outdoor recreational leadership and management, both from Northern Michigan University. Also, he graduated from the Military Academy of Health and Sciences as a medical specialist at Fort Sam Houston, Texas. He is a combat medic in the Army. He also taught CERT teams for FEMA, yay FEMA, and Red Cross, community emergency response teams, developed NERT neighborhood risk education programs, teaches all levels of wilderness first aid, CPR. He teaches bloodborne pathogen prevention. You're amazing. Ryan, I got more to go, and you're just amazing. You teach chain of infectious modules and how to break them, as well as wilderness survival, and you just finished a double-header on America Unplugged for the Sportsman Channel, Season 1, Episode 4. Amazing. Welcome.
Thank you.
We have Ryan on the phone tonight, and there's going to be a little bit of delay, so if you can bear with us for the show. Have at her, Ryan. I'd like to have your info and what you thought of the video. We had put in an article about the transfer of the patient doctor who had the Ebola virus.
Well, they did. They started out excellent, and then it was just all downhill from there. Well, first, they should never have brought the patients over here. The number one protocol of the CDC and the United States government and every agency is you don't bring a Class A infectious disease into a society that does not have an infectious outbreak in it already. Mm-hmm. You don't cross-contaminate. That's the number one protocol. And then, but from there on, when they put them on the plane, they did everything right. But as soon as they took the person off the plane, it just all went to hell from there on. So, right. And it's seen from you got over 100-something doctors infected overseas in Africa, and you're starting to see doctors over here being infected and people showing up in New York and Ohio and Tennessee with the disease already, and it's only been a couple of days.
Right.
Or I should be suspected with the disease.
Well, I'm showing the video right now. I don't know. Is my screen showing you guys?
Nope.
Oh.
No, you're not screen sharing yet.
Oh. Well, hang on a second. I'm going to, because I'm going to show you what I'm talking about in regard to that video for the viewers that don't know. Hold on a second. I'm trying.
Are you talking about the video of him being the doctor being taken out of the ambulance and walking out on his own? And there's a couple plainclothes. There's a police officer close by and a photographer, and you can see it on the different angles, and they are not in any protective gear whatsoever, and yet they're about 10 or 15 feet away. Would that, Ryan, would that be anywhere near how to take somebody who has the world's most deadly?
No. That was absolutely ridiculous and beyond. This is a Class A category virus. And what a Class A category virus is a virus that is highly contagious and can be spread from across a population through various means and can be weaponized. And Ebola is one of these viruses that can be very easily weaponized and spread across the country. It's not necessarily proven to be airborne at this time. However, it is suspected to be airborne amongst primates and has been shown to be airborne from pigs to primates, and which means it's only one step away from being airborne amongst humans. And all it takes is to get into the right human with the right immunodeficiency for it to mutate to become airborne. And that's why it's classified as a Class A category disease or virus, and therefore requires a high level of security and a high level of protocols that surround it in order to be transported. That's why they put them in a level 5 transport situation on the airplane. What I refer to as a double bubble. They stuck them in a bubble and then stuck that bubble in another bubble and then transported it. But as soon as they took them off the plane, they stuck them in the wrong kind of suit to begin with, put them in an ambulance, brought them over with no escort or anything, and then as soon as they brought them out of the ambulance in front of the hospital, they got all these people walking around. If there's one or two people you see on the video in plain clothes right there, imagine how many people in that hospital were walking around in plain clothes within feet of this guy. And the suit he's in is the type of suit you would put somebody in. Imagine you're 100% healthy and you wanted to walk through a room full of people with SARS. That's the type of suit you would put on to prevent yourself from getting sick, not the type of suit you would put on if you were the one sick and wanted to prevent other people from getting sick.
Also,
different types of suits.
You know, the fact that he gets out on himself and that he's walking, I mean, he could easily fall and trip. He walks on a patch of gravel.
On gravel.
You know, and how does that make any sense?
Gravel, which can easily tear the suit.
Exactly.
Just a Tyvek suit.
Sure,
No.
and his boots are kind of falling off. I think he's the patient on the right. The other one seems to be assisting, and his boots are falling off. He's walking sideways. I'm not sure which is the patient. Excuse
49.
me.
Have you seen? I put up a video earlier today that showed the opposite angle, and you could see several other plainclothes people that were standing around as well. I know this is the Dutch Synths one. But there's no doubt that this was all for show, in my opinion. And I want to ask Ryan, because I've done so much work into this, and I've been really ripping into CNN, and I don't know if you've noticed, but Sanjay Gupta is Mr. Ebola, and he has been on this story since it broke, basically, covering it. He is interviewing all the doctors and all that. Now, they had 6 patients that they suspected of Ebola in New York City, and what he was saying completely contradicts what you said. He said that they're not at all worried about these patients because even if they do have Ebola, there's no risk whatsoever of it spreading, and they didn't need to put them in any sort of isolation, and that it's not airborne and all that. And I couldn't believe it because I've watched so much, read so much on Ebola, and to me it's just like you say, they never take chances with the world's most deadly disease.
Here's something you can do when the talk show's over. Type in Category A contagious diseases and viruses on Google. And then you look it up, and it's listed under Category A. Is listed under there is human form of Ebola. Okay? And it's listed as Category A because it can be weaponized. So any patient with Ebola must be treated as if they are a Category A disease or infectious. And that means they have to have armed escorts. That means they're supposed to be transported. Whenever they're transported in an ambulance, they have to have a lead vehicle and a follow-up vehicle to ensure that the ambulance that they're in, when they cross intersections and stuff like that, the intersections are clear, because if there's a car accident, then, you know, I mean, how many gruesome car accidents do you need to see before you realize that blood and bodily fluids are involved in car accidents?
Exactly.
Okay, so the disease is human-to-human transfer through via direct contact with blood or bodily fluids from an infected person, including like your snot, from sneezing or whatever. You can sneeze particles. It's been proven in laboratories with Ebola that particles as small as 0.8 to 1.2 micrometers in size, which is about the average sneeze. When you sneeze, those particles can travel 20 to 30 miles per hour through the air. If you're outside and they catch an updraft from the wind, they can travel up to 30, 40, 50 feet away. If you're in a classroom of students, when the classroom, a student could be on one end of the classroom and the opposite diagonal corner of the other end, another student could be, and collect all that stuff. They may not feel it land on them, but those particles can land on the other person on the other side. So some doctors will say that that's airborne, and some doctors will say that's not airborne. Some doctors say that airborne is considered a gaseous state, where you know, it's more of a fume, or like on your breath. And some doctors will say anything that can travel through the air and survive the transport from one person to the next. So it's all in your definition of what airborne is. And you can find a million scientists on the net to say both sides.
And does Ebola have the ability to survive outside a host for a period of time?
Yes, that's how it becomes transmitted. Semen, for example, if you are infected with Ebola and somehow survive, because it has a 50 to 90% death rate. So if you're one of the lucky people, 10 to 50% of the people that can survive, you become healthy. You get Ebola, you become healthy and whatnot. It stays in your semen for another 50 days, 50 to 60 days later. Okay, so you can have sex after you've recovered, fully recovered from having Ebola. And you can have sex with the person, and it's in your semen, and it can survive. They can get it even though you're fully recovered. They can get it from, say you ejaculate into a condom, and then somebody comes around and picks up that condom 24 hours later. You know, as long as it's still moist and not dried up, it can still be transmitted that way. You sneeze, you have the infection in your system right now, okay? You sneeze into that, you don't know it, you're in the incubation stage, okay? And you sneeze into that Kleenex, and you're at a restaurant, and you set the Kleenex down on the table, that busboy comes when you leave and picks up that Kleenex and gets it on his hands, and then he takes it, he doesn't realize it, you know, and he throws the stuff away, and then he wipes his face, gets it in the mucous membranes in his eyes or in his mouth or something like that. He just transmitted it to himself. He becomes an incubator for anywhere from 7 to 10 days to 3 weeks, I think it is, the incubation stage. And it can transmit that way. And so it can last for anywhere. There's no specific information out there that I can find that says exactly for how long Ebola can last. But it can last, because it's transmittable through contact of bodily fluids. Usually that means until the bodily fluid has dried up or been exposed to an extreme temperatures. So at room temperature, and as long as the bodily fluids are in a liquid state, then it should be considered contagious.
Wow. And you were telling me when we were in conversation that a flu virus is a level 2. What this guy was being transported in is a level 1 suit. Now you're saying that Ebola is level 4, correct?
It's considered level 4 because it can be weaponized, and because it can't be cured. There's no virus. You can treat the symptoms of it and hope that the human body can is strong enough to fight it off, which is why it has such a high death rate, or 50 to 90%. And most of the diseases or viruses don't have that kind of.
Have you heard, though, about the cure that they supposedly have found and that they applied to the doctor that was infected, and that his symptoms instantly changed within an hour? He was remarkably improved, they said, and then of course they showed in the CNN video how he was able to climb out of the hospital himself, and they were saying that is the remarkable effect of this serum that they have developed. And the method, now this is where my limits come to describing these things, but as far as I know, it's a method where they say that they inject primates with the Ebola vaccination, and then they extract the cells that are fighting.
Ebola vaccination.
Pardon me?
They inject them with the live version.
Yes. So what do you make of that? I mean, does it make any sense to you?
Not really, because they're ultimately causing the spread of the disease in order to create a cure for it, and that's kind of a little bit backwards.
Yeah, it's magical to them, because what they're saying on CNN and CBC and all the corporate media is that they have found the secret serum and Sanjay Gupta, I can quote him, he actually said that we have not tested this yet on animals. It's completely in the experimental stages, but we now see that it has worked, and now we might be able to find a way of getting it to the masses. And he really made that point in the video that I diagnosed, that this was some sort of super serum, and it's all over the internet. If you Google it, there's all this information. It was developed in Canada along with the USAID or whatever, I can't remember the name of the infectious disease control command, whatever they're called. But to me, I just don't buy it.
You know what's right? Super secret vaccine? They combine rabies with the Ebola virus to come up with this vaccine.
Right, like in 28 days later.
If you read the patent.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Ryan. That was similar to what they did in 28 days later. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. If anybody's seen the movie 28 Days Later, which was just a few years before, they start. If you look up at the patents in real life, if you go online and you look at the patents for this miracle vaccine, they mixed rabies with Ebola to come up with the vaccine. Now, when they were inventing this, if you look at the dates and stuff, when they were inventing this, it's right about the same time, give or take a few months, as when the movie came out 28 days later with the vaccine that caused rage, where in the movies, they took rabies and mixed it with the exact same strain of Ebola to create a live vaccine to give to primates and a dead vaccine to give to humans. And then when they put it into the primates, it became airborne, it mutated and became airborne and turned into rage, and then the primates, transmit it, and then you get the whole zombie effect from it. But the point is, it's the exact same methodology in the movie that they're doing right now, and it predated everything that's going on right now by a couple of years. And then right at the same time the movie came out was right when they were experimenting and testing this stuff. And then in 2012, they filed for a patent for the rabies Ebola vaccine combo, the exact same thing that they had in the movie. And then shortly after that, the movie World War Z comes out. In World War Z, they have the same thing. The Ebola virus is the cause of this mass pandemic all around the world. And what do they find to stop it? To fight the virus with, again, another major substance like rabies that they inject into people to fight the Ebola. And So it's pretty much what I get out of that is that they knew in advance that there was a mutated version of Ebola out there, and they were working on a vaccine because their own patents, patents that you can look up in Canada and United States government websites that we can't personally alter or anything. We can access them and we can look at them. I have the links to it too, where you can actually link to the government websites and see these patents. And they're working on it. And what's the best way to desensitize the population to get them so they don't freak out about it and they don't worry about it? And they're not like, what's the best way to move a whole bunch of soldiers through your town before, you know, in order to prevent people from freaking out? Why are all these soldiers in my town? You get them used to seeing soldiers.
Right.
Exactly.
You don't want people freaking out to disease outbreaks. Get them used to seeing it all the time in the movies. So they post a movie exactly showing what the disease. Now the theatrics may be different, the timeline may be different, and the outcome is different. You know, there may not be actual zombies running around, but the disease is real, and the vaccine is real, and the cause is real.
Right, but you know, you look at it, and rage is a good thing to call it if the basis of it is rabies, because you know, people who've had rabies, they do get enraged, they're short-tempered, they tend to bite, same as a rabid animal does. I mean, it's called rabid for a reason, right? And you know, the mindset has started into the whole zombie scenario. I really do believe that they're conditioning the public to accept it or be prepared on some kind of psychological level, to be prepared for what's about to hit, or what could possibly hit.
Red has done a lot of work on this, and I'm sure he could come in with some good filler here with dealing with this in all the movies, right, Red Pill? I mean, like, they've been telegraphing this for some time.
Yes.
Is he there?
Yes, I'm here. Yes, definitely, and I'm glad you guys are talking about it. That is so obvious and in your face. It is really insane, and as Ryan was talking about, that's unbelievable. I didn't even look into the World War Z details about the vaccine and the actual virus, but that is correct. So, what's interesting about the rabies, though, 49, is so there are two forms of rabies. Paralytic and furious, right? So now the furious rabies is characterized by the extreme, like you said, the extreme behavioral changes, you know, overt aggression, you know, attack behavior. It could be, they could tweak that and make that just like the zombie attacks we have seen in the past few years, and similar to the movies. Maybe not to the same effect, of course. It's exaggerated in the movies, but it's enough.
Yeah, you know? But a good example is the bath salts, right? And I wanted Ryan to elaborate a little bit on the whole fact of what the protocols would have been if they had walked this guy over gravel. What would the proper protocols have been if this were a real scenario?
Okay. If this were a real scenario, well, number one, they never would have brought him to America because they wouldn't have risked an outbreak in a society that did not have the disease to begin with. So in a real scenario, it never would have got that to that point. But let's say that they did decide to bring him in anyway. They would have brought him in the level 4 or level 5 containment, which they did in real life in the airplane. But when the airplane landed, they would have set up a vacuum tube or a compression tube tunnel to the airplane and to a specially modified ambulance, not just a regular old city ambulance. They would have brought in a military-style ambulance, the kind I used to drive, and I used to drive an M995 field ambulance, which has an NBC filtration system mounted to the roof. And what that filtration system does is I can flip a switch, and it can either create a vacuum where it draw out outside air into the vehicle and suck everything through a filter before it goes back outside. That means anybody with contagious disease on the inside, the disease can't go out of the vehicle without first being scrubbed through a multi-stage filtration system powerful enough to filter out nuclear radiation. And then, same as reverse, if I was going to drive it through a biological war zone, I flip the switch one way, and it filters all the air coming in and highly pressurizes the ambulance on the inside, pushing everything outwards so that people inside don't get infected. So depending on which way you need to go, they would have had that style of ambulance there, and then they would have connected this vacuum tunnel to it, which would be two-walled, double-walled. The inside wall would be just a normal tunnel. The people walking through it wouldn't feel any type of vacuum or anything. Then it'd have an outer wall with a hole between the two walls, and that hole would have a vacuum through it, which would go through a scrubber. So it'd have an intake and an outtake, and basically so that if the infection were to escape from the patient would be in some sort of a bubble suit if he could walk. If he couldn't walk, it'd be on a bubble gurney. If you looked on the in the TV news media videos, they show a gurney that the patient's not even in, but they had the little gloves, and they say look, you can even stick your hands in these gloves, and you can work on the patient, and they're completely sealed and secured inside this gurney so that they don't get anybody infected. If they couldn't walk, they'd be in something like that. If they could walk and they were in just the beginning stages, then they'd be in a similar thing, but one that they could walk in. They would walk through this tunnel. If that suit were to malfunction, then that first stage would prevent it from escaping, and by sucking all the air out and filtering it through the scrubbers so that it couldn't get out into the atmosphere. And then that tunnel would connect to the ambulance, which is doing the same thing. And then they would shut it down. And when it's done, they would normally roll it all up and burn it and incinerate it in a special procedure. Then that ambulance would have an escort, one in front and one behind, of an armed police escort or military escort. Most likely it would have been DOD or FEMA, and they would have transported it. Not because Ebola is a major threat as is by itself, but because it's listed as a Category A weaponizable virus. That's why. Because of its category, it must be treated this way, and because it can easily be cross-contaminated, through bodily fluids.
So, what is your best guess at what was the whole charade about? Because it's obvious to me, and I think everyone here, that that was a spectacle for us to behold. It's not the real thing. There's no way. I said this in my videos. I'm no expert, but I'm glad we have one on here. Just basically agreeing with everything that I had said before, that there's no way that is the proper way that they would go about something so deadly as Ebola. So what is your best guess at why they have gone through this whole sort of charade?
Well, our government is excellent at staging false flags. We've staged false flags for every war that we've been in. We staged a false flag so that we could go to Vietnam. We staged a false flag so that we could attack Japan. We staged false flags so that we could join into World War I and World War II. We staged the biggest false flag of them all, 9/11, and we staged false flags so that we could go in and take over the 5 stages of the Desert Storm Wars and everything, for all the taking over and messing with the whole political governments over in Iran and Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Libya, and all those other places over there that we've been messing around with for all these years since the 80s. We always stage a false flag attack on that. The only thing left, we've destabilized the world. Our government's already destabilized the world. We're in control all over the world. We're losing control of the United States. And if you look back a couple of years ago, President Obama started asking people in the government, if we went to civil war, if we had a revolutionary war here, would you back the government or would you back the people? Would you back the militias? Those who claim to back the militias have either disappeared, died, or been fired or forced to resign, and then something's happened to them, or they are just been plain disqualified and.
Well, yeah, there was a giant purge. Hundreds of generals were lost their positions within the, so yeah.
Yeah, I believe most of them lost their jobs because they refused to fire on American citizens. There's also been that question has been passed along as well through military asking if they'll fire upon
Brian,
American
you're not coming in.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I hear him good.
Oh, now that
I can hear him too.
Yeah.
oh, you can hear him. I can't hear him. Okay.
No.
I'm hearing Max Headroom here.
I'm just sitting here wondering, why I wouldn't come in if everybody's hearing me. But like I was saying, this happened in the military as well. With they asked a whole bunch of military men if they would fire on U.S. citizens. All the ones that said no were purged. All the ones that said yes, of course, were promoted.
Great, we got all the psychos running the show.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, and these questions were asked as far back as 2004.
Look at the executive orders over the last term of President Obama. You go to type in President Obama executive orders, and it takes you to a government website like www.gov, and then go to the link for executive orders. Again, a government website, so that everybody can't claim conspiracy theory websites and everything else. You go straight to the horse's mouth, straight to the source. There's 923 executive orders. Not all of them are brand new Obama orders, but they are amendments and stuff like that. Scroll through and you will see a crap ton of executive orders, which means Obama put them in, forced them in, and Congress didn't get to say anything about it. Nobody got to vote on it. That means an executive order means I'm going to do this irregardless of what the country and the politicians and everybody says. This is me.
Yes.
You suck it.
Yes, the exact same thing he said on his campaign trail that he would not do.
Mm-hmm. Well, of course.
Now he got
I'm wondering if Ryan saw. I saw this off the Potter blog there, Pissing on the Roses, but they put this video out in April. I think it was April the 11th. I remember it lit up alarm bells in my mind. They had sent out Ebola detection kits to all 50 states.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, whoa, what? What's going on? It's just another piece of evidence to suggest that this is a master plan that's in action that we're witnessing. That's why I've been working so hard on it, by the way, guys.
There's a couple of executive orders I'd like you and the listeners to check out. Now, there's a lot of them. We got to scroll through them, but.
Oh, I think we lost him, producer.
Yep, he dropped from him. Oh, here he comes.
If you can scroll through these executive orders, you will see right shortly after he put out that survey about will you stand with the government or stand with the people, he came out with a executive order for each political branch, including the EPA, the DOD, the Department of Agriculture, CDC, everything, every political branch office out there. He wrote up an executive order, and that executive order discusses the order of succession. So if you go to the executive orders list and you don't want to waste time scrolling through, type in executive orders for order of succession, and you get a whole list of them. So basically what he's done is he's handpicked who will take charge of each political organization in the event that crap hits the fan and they enact a national state of emergency and call for martial law. Then any of the head directors of any of the agencies that he deems is unfit to follow his orders at that time, they are immediately removed from office, and these executive orders take place to assign the people that he handpicked to succeed them. And you can see that I just went through them a couple of days ago. And they're right there for everybody to see on the government website. Then there's another executive order that says that they plan to use the post office to deliver, and this has been around for years, but they keep amending it, to use the post office to deliver vaccines.
Right.
And anybody who refused the vaccine from the postal office is to be reported, and then they send a team out. And if the post office notices anybody coughing or sneezing or anything like that, then the team comes out and takes your whole family away and puts you in a camp.
Do you have a link to that particular executive order?
I just put it in the chat room.
Okay, you put it in the chat.
Yeah.
That's mind blowing.
Yeah.
I mean,
But there's one more executive order that is both Bush put out and then Obama put out, altering it. It's about a national state of emergency based on biological or chemical warfare on the United States. And those executive orders detail exactly how the government will react in the event there's a biological outbreak in the United States, which leads me to answer your question that you asked a little bit a while ago about why do I think that they brought these patients in to the United States when we did not have any Ebola cases here in the United States, and why did they bring them in to break protocol? Well, we all know that, or we should know, if you've been following Obama's elections and everything for the last several years, that since Obama got into the office, he's tried 3 times to either create a way that he can run for a 3rd election or stay in office for life. He's tried to create a life term in office or create a 3rd election possibility. And he failed in every attempt. However, thanks to W. Bush and thanks to the executive order that instated the what's it called?
The NDAA?
National Defense Authorization Act?
Where it allows them to spy on us and everything. I can't remember the name of it.
Patriot Act.
The one where they allow them. Yeah, the Patriot Act. Yes, thank you.
Yep.
When they engaged the Patriot Act and allowed that law under the Patriot Act, it gives the president the ability to call for martial law, and then when they call for martial law, that the president can assign anybody he wants to take charge. Well, President Bush arranged for a list of FEMA executive orders for FEMA, and there's a whole list on there which you can find online just about anywhere. But if you go to the government website and look up these FEMA order numbers, which I have the whole list here, which I believe I've shared with 49, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I'm just searching them right now and throwing them in the website for everybody.
Yeah, if you could put those links up, that would be
order. Give FEMA the power to confiscate your home, your land, your vehicles, your family. They can come in under these executive orders and take your entire family to use them for a workforce. First, that's an executive order for slavery. And,
I'm getting some. If I can interject.
Executive orders.
If I can interject for 1 second, I'm getting some breaking news from Ryan over at FPRN, who said that the State Department is now saying that there will be an Ebola attack.
Well, I saw the video. I think that's the one that he's referring to, where there is a woman from the State Department and she's speaking, and then she says this Ebola attack. And could that be what he's referring to?
That could be what he's referring to. He didn't specifically say. He just gave it a headline. I saw that same video. Go ahead, Red Pill.
I'm sorry if I mean. I believe that's what that is. There was a slip of the tongue, and she corrected herself. That's what I heard.
Yeah, that's what I got out of it, that it was, and it's one of those things that they can easily dismiss and just say, well, she meant that there's an outbreak, but she clearly said attack.
Yeah.
So it's another way of them telegraphing. It's another way of them messing up their lines. They mess up their lines all the time. They mess up everything. They can't seem to pull anything off properly. Maybe they're doing it on purpose so that people like us pick up on all these things so that they can easily identify us when the outbreak happens, and we'll be the first doors that they smash down. It's kind of like watching a Jason A movie come to life. It is. I honestly don't think there's a scarier scenario than having an Ebola outbreak, which may be not even an Ebola outbreak. It might just be a way of bringing in the New World Order and rounding up all the dissidents and bringing in the end game.
Well, the government always comes in and says. Sorry, go ahead, Ryan.
The order that brings in the that stands for the what the government will do in the event of a biological outbreak, which both President Bush and President Obama have put in place, says that in the event of a biological outbreak, an immediate action will take place to place the land under martial law and bring in troops to contain anybody who even looks or appears to maybe have the disease. So if you cough, and it goes out and lists if you cough or sneeze or sweaty or anything like that.
Well, they even said in the executive order that there's a provision to round up well-being, people that look perfectly fine but may have had contact, or that for some reason they're suspicious about them.
Exactly.
So it's just a broad thing. They can pick up anybody they want.
Mm-hmm.
So if all Obama needs to do is have an excuse. It doesn't actually have to happen. He just has to have the excuse. So what my thinking is this is the perfect excuse for him to swipe that pen, writing off the Constitution, writing off the Congress, writing off the rest of the government and all the voting and everything else, like voting ever really mattered anyway for the last 150 years, but you get the point. And telling everybody, hey, we're in a national crisis because we have an Ebola outbreak, and let's blame it on we're not going to blame it on the two people we brought over here. Let's blame it on the doctor that self-quarantined in Tennessee, or let's blame it on these tens of thousands of illegal aliens that we let cross the border. Well, we didn't let them cross the border. They crossed the border illegally, but there was nothing we could do about it except give them amnesty.
They're giving a nice escort.
Well,
yeah, we give them bus rides and EBT cards.
Yeah.
All sick and poor health and everything else. Not all of them are sick, but some of them are sick and poor health and everything. It's the perfect excuse. There's 1,000 of them here and 1,000 of them there in all of our major southern cities, and they have this miracle super secret vaccine that they have to test. Now, if you were one of these thousands of illegal aliens and you came across the border illegally, and you know that if you get deported back to the country you came from, their priority is to put a bullet in your head and execute you or jail you for life. That's what happens if you're an illegal Mexican and you come across the border and you get deported back. Chances are you go to jail in Mexico. So, or if you come in from Cuba or something like that, they kill you. So, so your option is, Mr. Obama and his buddies come over and say, hey, you want to see in America? Sure, we'll give you amnesty. Here's your Walmart credit card, which we all know, and we've seen the videos. A friend of mine got a video of it, and another friend of mine here in the same town as me works at the VA hospital in Pittsburgh, and he physically saw them getting off the bus, going shopping with their VA, with their government-issued Walmart cards, and going shopping and everything at our taxpayers' expenses. So now they're saying, well, we gave you money, we gave you housing, but if you really want your amnesty, you want to stay here, take this vaccine. And they're like, okay, we signed the sheet, and we signed the waiver, and we take this experimental vaccine. The vaccine gets into the people. It mutates because it's not thoroughly tested, because any patent takes up to 10 years to be thoroughly tested and before it can be approved for human production, because it takes 10 years or one generation to determine if it's going to have any genetic effects on the human body. And
right.
so,
Ryan, you've looked into the numbers on when the patents were applied, and I would like you to explain to the audience of when the patents would actually be approved.
Well, the patent was applied for in 2012. This is 2014, 2 years later, and they're talking about administering the vaccine that they applied for the patent in 2012. Now it's 2014. The patent shouldn't even be considered, not even considered for human use until 2020. The only time they have ever done something like this is when there was an immediate outbreak of something, like anthrax. Remember the anthrax vaccine when they had that anthrax breakout and somebody was mailing those letters? They came out with a vaccine that was about a year and a half tested, and guess what? Over 1 million people died from the vaccine itself.
That's right.
I know, because when I was in the military at the time, and they started handing out those vaccines, and I told them no. And they told every soldier in the military, if you don't take this vaccine, you will get an Article 15. That's basically serious trouble. They take away your pay for a month and a half, and you get put on this extra duty. They treat you like crap for 45 days, and you get in some serious trouble. They even take your rank away. And I told them, no, I won't take it. I took it all the way to court-martial, and I beat it. But the point is that they were forcing soldiers to take these vaccines knowing that it was only less than 2 years tested, and over 1 million people died from the vaccine alone. That is why you wait 10 years to find out what the health effects are going to be before you give it to humans, because we just don't know. 1 million people dying from a vaccine, an untested vaccine, but you still give it to them? It's
That's what they do, right? I mean, this is what these pharmaceutical monster companies do. I mean, Bayer, I know that Bayer sent over their vaccines to France, and I think it was something like 150,000 people died, and you can't even raise a lawsuit against Bayer. The power that they have, that anthrax is just the precursor. That's the training for the big show that's coming up, which is the Ebola outbreak. And
Well, with that said, Jeff, we got actually 2 questions that came in from a caller, and I'm just going to go ahead and ask these to the whole roundtable, so anybody can jump in on this if they want to. The first question is, what is the agenda of the Ebola false flag? What is your guys' opinion? Because of course nobody actually knows their true agenda, but your opinions.
This thing may not be a false flag, it like the surface may be, but the actual outbreak seems like a dream come true to the people in charge.
Yeah.
It's a great point, but
my opinion of a false flag is any event that the government uses to take more control. So even though the event may be real, they use it to their advantage to take more control, and that's what I call a false flag. And this is the false flag because it's the perfect stepping stone for Obama to write off, to sign that signature calling in for martial law, which makes our United States government, what's left of it, obsolete, and that makes our Constitution completely obsolete. And that means the order chain of command then becomes President, then it becomes FEMA, DOD, and then the UN, because our own soldiers have already been proven that they're not going to shoot and fire and attack U.S. citizens. The UN, there's another executive order in there, if you scroll through, that allows or allots for the UN to step in the state of a national emergency to help out. All the DOD has to do is inform FEMA that we need the assistance, and the UN steps in. Our government supplies them. Everybody wants to know, why is FEMA buying up millions and millions of 223 rounds? Because the UN shoots 223. FEMA and DOD shoot 223. United States military shoots 5.56. The reason for that is so on the battlefield we can determine who fired what round. Was it a soldier, or was it UN or DOD or whatever? So
are those the hollow tip rounds, by the way?
That they're buying up. What's that?
Are those the hollow tipped rounds? The 223?
No, the hollow point and whatnot doesn't make a difference. It's just a very, very minute difference between the round. It's so minute you can't even tell with the naked eye really. You got to measure it with micrometer to see the difference. It's just enough of a difference so that you can tell which type of soldier shot the bullet. Without having to do rifle testing, everything else, you can look at the bullet and say this. An armorer can look at the bullet and say this is a 223 or this is a 5.56. So when they do forensics and stuff like that, they can say the UN fired the bullet or the militia group fired a bullet. So what's happening is that the DoD and FEMA are buying up billions of rounds of ammunition, which is what caused the ammunition shortage. But that ammunition, everybody thinks and focused on why is DoD and FEMA buying up all the ammo? What do they need all that ammo for? It's not for them. It's for the UN soldiers that are coming in to fight on their behalf, to control our population, because they know our soldiers won't do it. That's why they're buying up 223 rounds. Our soldiers shoot 5.56. If they wanted to control the population, they would be shooting 5.56 rounds and buying up 5.56 rounds, not 223. 5.56 is a NATO round. 223.
How many? You know how many NATO soldiers are currently stationed in the United States? Do you have any estimate?
Well, there is a difference between NATO and UN. You know, like NATO soldier and a UN soldier are two different soldiers.
Yes, so of course, but
I don't know the numbers.
When we see the videos of all the UN trucks, okay, so we'll say UN soldiers, that it seems, of course, that's the heart of the beast anyways, right? So the UN soldiers, you see all the trucks, all the vehicles that are being, transported here and there, the FEMA camps. Is that what we're looking at in the future, the near future?
Oh, yeah. I think it's all these UN vehicles that are being brought in, you tell because they're blue and white cap that they're wearing on their heads. All the UN, you look around at all the different states, there's a list pretty much anywhere on the internet you can find these days, a complete list of the 800 FEMA camps around the country. Now, compare that list with the addresses of the 800 FEMA camps, and to compare that to the maps and the sightings of all the UN transports.
And where they're bringing in all of
to these 800 FEMA camps all across the country. And there's even a couple of FEMA camps up there in Canada.
Yes.
So you're seeing all the UN forces merging around all these FEMA camp areas, and you're seeing that that's also where the ammo dumps and stuff are that FEMA and DoD are buying up. They're staging, and all they need is for Obama to have a reason to sign that statement declaring martial law. And all they need to sign the statement to declare martial law so that his executive orders of succession will kick in is some excuse like an expected Ebola outbreak. I'm not saying it is the excuse, but it is a possible excuse, and it's a damn good one.
I wanted to ask you, in regard to this Ebola, with your experience, I know that you do a lot of natural healing and that. What would you give for advice to people to kind of prepare themselves, stave off any illnesses? I wanted to kind of touch on that subject a little bit too for the public.
Okay. Well, in order to protect yourself, you need to know and understand the chain of infection. So there's 6 stages to the chain of infection, and I'll just give you real quick the different stage titles. You have the portal of escape, which is where the infection gets out. You have the reservoir of a pathogen, which is a human being, animals, or an inanimate object like that Kleenex I was telling you about earlier on the table, as long as it's still moist. You have the transmission, where it goes from one person to the next. You have the route of entry, or the infectious dose. That's where it goes in your, how you can take it in. You could eat it, breathe it, mixed needles, blood, however it gets into your body. Then once it's in your body, you have to be susceptible to that. Not everybody is is susceptible to everything. And then it has an incubation period. And then once it's breached the incubation period, then that's when you become the portal of escape at that point, and the chain of infection starts over in kind of a circle. And what you need to do, what you want to know is how to break that chain of infection. In order to break that chain of infection, you need to know how the stages of the communicability is. That's kind of a hard word to say, but you have the incubation period where the pathogen replicates in the host. Then you have a prodromal period where you start to feel the signs and symptoms like your fevers, your fatigue, sweating, coughing, and stuff like that. Then you have the illness period with the clinical signs and symptoms where you have the, you're oozing out of your orifices and stuff with the snot and maybe bleeding or whatever disease or virus that you're affected by, and with those things. For instance, with Ebola, you can have runny nose, coughing, sneezing, headaches, dizzy, nausea, just like you would with the flu in the early stages. And in the late stages, you're going to have diarrhea and maybe blood in your stool. And in the very late stages, your vessels start collapsing, and you could even start showing bumps, these pustule bumps and stuff on your face, and stuff like that. It can get quite nasty. Then you have the convalescent period, which is the signs and symptoms recede, and you start to feel better, and you start to return to health. And then you have the portion where the host could become, not necessarily will, become a chronic carrier of the infectious agent. And then, so now that if you understand that, you understand the chain of infection, how it works. So how you want to break that? So is if you don't have it, you want to make sure that you, one, isolate yourself from those people who do have it or suspected to have it. You want to stay out of areas that will most definitely have spreads or outbreaks. And with, especially with Ebola, you may not know you even have it for the first, I think it's 2 to 3 days, up to 7 to 10 days. With this new strain, it's hard to tell because they keep changing the numbers constantly. Right. So you may not even know it in the first few days. That means other people may not even know it in the first few days. You could travel all the way around the world in 5 days on an airplane. And so your best bet is to stay away from airports right now. Airports and bus stations, I wouldn't go anywhere near them. Don't use public transportation, because everybody going to bus stations and airports are using public transportation to get to and from their vehicles that they left when they went on vacation to the airport to leave. Now they're coming back using the public transportation to get back to their vehicle to go home. All right, so stay away from public transportation for a while. Don't go to the mall. Don't go to the big place. Don't go to places where there's going to be large populations of people until you know for a fact that it's under control. That's the isolation technique is the best way to make sure you don't get it at all, especially if it's not an airborne. If it's contagious via contact, then isolation is the #1 and basically the only proven way not to get anything. The other next thing you want to do is if you do have contact, you want to make sure that you wash your hands immediately. Don't touch your face or anything. If you have to go out in an area where you think people may be, wear a face mask, wear some kind of eye protection. Regular eyeglasses don't count because they don't suck up to your face. Some kind of goggles. Wear gloves. And again, you want to wash and everything. Be careful. When you're taking this stuff off of you, your gloves are the last thing that come off. In fact, what I would do is when you put on all your gear, and then you got your gloves on, you go out and you're working around the people who are sick, then when you come back, you take off your infected gloves and you put on a fresh pair of gloves. And then and then now that you have a fresh pair of gloves on, then you use those to take your goggles off and your mask off and your other gear off, and then you remove that new pair of gloves, take those off, and then you go and wash everything. And when you wash, you make sure that the water runs away from the body. So when you wash your hands, you start at the elbow and wash downward. towards the hands. You don't wash at the hands, wash towards the elbow, because that brings it to you. You wash away from you. And same thing with other parts of your body that you may be washing. You want to, this is like extreme cases. You need to understand like what environment are you going into, and just how much protection are you going to need. Right now, it's spreading through contact with bodily fluids, and that includes sneezing and coughing, as far as I'm concerned. So you want to make sure that you keep a distance away, and you're not going to be trapped in an elevator. If you see somebody get in an elevator that's sneezing and coughing, go use the staircase. Okay? In fact, just don't get in closed spaces, period, for a while. If you yourself are sick, you want to use a mask, and you want to make sure that when you cough and sneeze, that a lot of people, you see a lot of the ads and the articles and stuff that say cough in your arm, don't cough in your hands if you got to cough or sneeze. Well, a lot of people cough and sneeze into their arm, but what do they do when they see a loved one? Then they go and hug that person, right? So if you coughed into the crease of your elbow or sneezed into the crease of your elbow and you're sick, and then you go and give somebody a hug, it's just the same as sneezing in your hand and shaking their hand, because you just smeared your arm all over that person, right? Or if you're in New York or any major city or in the mall or something like that, and you cough and sneeze in your arm, and you're walking through a crowd, and your arm is rubbing and bumping and smearing all over everybody else, it's just as bad as your hand. The people that created that advertisement doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. The best thing to do, and also handkerchiefs. You got a handkerchief in your pocket, you pull that handkerchief out, you cough and sneeze in it, and then you shove it back in your pocket, and you pull it out again. That's not doing anything for you. It's becoming more and more and more contagious. You need disposable Kleenexes. One of the best things to do, if you really, really want to make sure that you don't spread anything, you would have a packet of disposable Kleenex and a packet of disposable Ziploc bags, and you would sneeze or whatever, clean yourself up with the Kleenex, stuff it in a Ziploc bag, and then throw the Ziploc bag away. That's the extreme case. Don't reuse anything. And always make sure you're washing hands. Hand sanitizer doesn't work. Okay, and I can give you a couple of examples why. Okay, do you understand how the flu is transmitted? Like, really understand how the flu is transmitted, not all the hype?
No. No, please tell us.
Okay, nobody's eating at the moment, right? Okay, the flu is not transmitted by sneezing. It is not transmitted by sharing food with somebody. It is not transmitted by kissing. It is not transmitted by sex. It is not transmitted by any other way than oral fecal. What that means is if somebody has the flu, in order for you to get it from them, you have to eat their poop. Okay? So if your wife has the flu and you get the flu from her, that's because you ate her poop molecules. Do you know how you got those poop molecules?
Yeah, from a fart, right?
Hand sanitizer. What's that?
From a fart, or for somebody going to the washroom and having a bowel movement and the particles still being in the air?
Because they didn't, yeah, well, not, it could be, I mean, it'd have to be a really bad fart, but it's more of they go and they wash their hands and they don't wash their hands properly, or they use hand sanitizer. You know, what hand sanitizer does, like, the molecules are solid particles, right? And they use a hand sanitizer, and that hand sanitizer will coat that particle, and it kills everything on the outside of that solid particle. But there's nothing in a hand sanitizer that gives it penetrating power. So when you get that particle and it okay, so you go, you take a dump, and you've got the flu. You come out of the bathroom, you use hand sanitizer on your hand because it's made out of alcohol, and it says it kills 99.9%. You know why they say 99.9% and not 100%? Because it doesn't have any penetrating power. When you use hand sanitizer on your hand, the poop is still on your hand. Yeah, you didn't wash anything away. You didn't remove anything. You just smeared it around. The hand sanitizer killed what's on the outside of the particle. Now you eat that particle, and you just keep making yourself sick over and over and over. And then when you shake hands with somebody, you transfer those particles to somebody else, and they don't know it, and then they eat, and then they get that particle inside their stomach. Your stomach digests the outside of the shell that was killed by the hand sanitizer, but now the inside of that particle is now exposed. You've just been exposed to the flu virus, and that's how you get the flu, from eating somebody else's poop. Oral fecal is how it's transmitted. And a lot of diseases are transmitted that way. And the people just don't understand it because they don't show it in the news. They don't teach you this. This isn't education that you get unless you go to school for it.
Yeah.
And so you need to, once you understand how something is truly transmitted, then you don't need vaccines. You don't need, immunization does not necessarily mean vaccination. You can immunize yourself without shooting yourself full of drugs. You don't have to become a drug addict to be immunized.
Right.
I haven't taken a vaccine in 14 years. In 2000, when I went through, when I became a combat medic in the year 2000, I went through the series of shots. After that, I said no more. I found another medic who had the same idea as I did, and we were in the same unit. And whenever it came up time to redo our vaccines, I would sign off on his, and he would sign off on mine as if we took them. So there was a record that we took them, but we didn't really take them. I've gone the last 14 years without taking a vaccine. I eat a lot of green vegetables. I eat meat. I live a healthy, fit lifestyle, despite being 15% paralyzed. And I have not been sick for 14 years. I can walk into a full disease-infested room where everybody's got flu. I've worked with N1H1 patients, not having any vaccines, not taking anything for it. I've had N1H1 patients vomit all over me and walked out and not get sick because of my healthy diet and my lifestyle of not being a germaphobe. And if you go through life being a germaphobe, there's a time for it and there's not a time for it. Proper hand washing technique takes 1 minute, a minimum of 1 to 2 minutes to wash your hands properly. To actually, you wash your hands. You wash your hands before you eat. If you're handling stuff like raw meat and stuff like that, just use your brain. You're handling something that could possibly be infectious. Wash your hands. And clean the table as necessary. When you chop up chicken, clean the table when you're done. Don't let it sit there. Raw chicken doesn't instantly have salmonella. Raw eggs don't instantly have salmonella. It forms hours later from sitting there. So you don't need antibacterial stuff. You don't have to kill everything in the house just to clean it up. You wipe it up, clean it up, remove the evidence from there, and then it's gone. Everybody wants a sterile environment. You walk into Walmart these days, you have the antibacterial wipes, you pull it off, you clean your cart, and then you go through. For thousands of years, we lived and went through, and we didn't have all these diseases. Some people died, but the majority of life lived. Humans have walked the earth for 4 million years. It was only the last 1,000 years that we started having trouble because we started mass populating in small areas. We had the Black Plague that came out because a large group of people crammed into a tiny little space and started tossing their human waste in the streets. Rats came in, started eating that human waste, and fleas started biting them. A disease broke out with the fleas, and creating the Black Plague or whatever. It bit the people, cross-transmitted that way. People got sick. As soon as a large population died off, the amount of human waste in the streets cleared up. The rats went away. The disease went away.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody had vaccines back then. It deals with mass populations or overpopulations of tiny areas coming together, creating the environment that they live in. Spread out. There's no need to have your house 5 feet from the house next to you. There's
Agenda
all
21.
across the world.
Well, sure, and they're accumulating us en masse into these cities, and it's just building
Agenda
like
21.
London was. And
It's Agenda 21. That's exactly what they said. Yeah.
sure.
They don't want us to have that option at all, and they're
No.
they're quickly removing it from all these rural areas, and it's happening right across the world.
Yeah, I agree. And
So stop taking these vaccines and stop using the hand sanitizer. Stop taking the vaccines. Use proper hand washing techniques, which you can find on YouTube. It's all over YouTube how to wash your hands properly. And wash your hands properly when you need to. And what happens is every single day as you're out in life, your immune system is designed to be attacked daily, right? Every single day when you go out in life, you get a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and it's coming in your body, and your body's getting bombarded by all this minute bits of disease and everything as you walk through life. And your immune system takes that and it says, oh, I can kill this off, it's nothing. And it kills this off, and it kills that off, and it kills this off, and it makes this huge ingredient list off on the left, right? So it's got thousands of bacteria and viruses and everything that it's killed off with no problems because you're bombarded with it every day. Now all of a sudden you get something really big that comes in, right? And it may make you sneeze or cough a little bit. But you get this big virus that you've never come across before, which is a mutation of all these little ones that you've been fighting off daily for your entire life. So it comes in, and your immune system's going to take it, and it's going to catch one of them floating through your body, and it's going to do its best. It's going to break it up, and it's going to look at the ingredients, just like baking a cake. And it's going to look at all the ingredients inside that virus or bacteria that's attacking it. And it's going to say, oh, I've got the ingredients to fight those. And it opens up that ingredients book on this left, and like the cupboard, and it pulls out this and that and this and that, makes its own antivirus, and it slams it and throws it at it, and then boom, it's gone. It's natural immunity, and it kills off that virus, pushes it out of your body, and says, get the hell out of here. Now, to boost that, you eat a healthy diet, which makes your immune system even stronger. A lot of green vegetables, a lot of stuff like garlic, dandelion, peppers is great. Any blood medicine out there except for one, which is a synthetic. For all blood medications out there that are based on started out as a plant, they all start out as capsaicin. It's the baseline ingredient, the number one active ingredient of all blood medications and heart medications, the stroke medications out there. And a lot of the immuno disease medications out there have capsaicin and stuff in it. So eat a lot of peppers. It burns that stuff out of you. If you don't like hot peppers and stuff, they come in capsules, so you never even know. You don't ever feel the burn. You can have all the capsaicin you want and never even know it. Just don't take the capsaicin with the garlic pill at the same time. Then you'll know. Right. So you put garlic and capsaicin and dandelions and stuff, and whatever, just eat healthy. Iceberg lettuce, it's not eating healthy. It may be green, but there's no value in it. Celery, there's no value in it unless you got the runs. So, but you need stuff like spinach and stuff like that. Dark green vegetables, spinach, broccoli, green beans are my 3 number 1 vegetables. And try to stay away from the genetically modified stuff. I know it's hard, but for you poor people out there like myself, Walmart actually has a whole line of non-GMO products now, or at least mine does. So, I mean, it's just hard if you don't have any place else to go. I live so far out in the boonies that I actually have to drive 25 miles into town just to get to the nearest grocery store. So sometimes I have to go to Walmart, unfortunately. But to build up your own immunization, it takes time. There's germaphobes that have been purifying everything before you use it. Now, I'm not saying go out there and drink dirty water out of a puddle. That's just pure stupidity. But use your common sense. If it's dirty, clean it. But don't don't go over.
But Ryan, I find it's really important to tell your children, go out and play in the dirt. Go out and play with worms.
Yes.
I mean, I eat worms, and I'm fine.
I pay my Boy Scouts to eat worms.
Yeah. No, it builds everything from around you, so it builds your immunity. So, but I'm Ryan. I really
eat honey from real bees, real honey from bees in your area, and you'll lose your allergies.
Yeah. Yeah, my dad's a beekeeper, and that's what we do is we raise our own honey, and it's really important. I think it builds up the immunity system through the pollen, through the, it takes all the flower, pollen, everything, and none of my kids have allergies to anything. So, it is important to take your environment and consume it in a different type of way. That being said, Brian, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to cut you off. Our other guests are waiting to come on. Are you still there?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I don't mean to cut you short. I would love to have you back if you would be interested. I think that as this Ebola and this flesh-eating disease and various other aspects of this scare is going on, I think you're a very invaluable resource, and we would like to have you back.
Definitely.
And if you
definitely come back anytime you want me.
Thank you very much. You can stay if you'd like to. We have a band coming on, and I'm going to hand the show over to Brian and let him introduce his guest. I'm really sorry to cut you short. It is an important subject. We do need to focus more on it. I think bits and pieces to have the people come back to. It's a lot of information to take in, so steps I think we need for solutions, and we're trying to offer solutions here. Anybody else have anything to add?
Well, it was excellent information. I'm riveted by everything that you were telling us, and I think it's very, very important that this information gets out and people really understand what's going on. So thank you very much, Ryan, for coming on.
Thank you. And you can stay with us. Brian, I'm going to hand the show over to you. Is Brian there now? We're having technical difficulties tonight. Google Plus is not cooperating.
I have to unmute myself. I like to mute myself during the show, because I don't interject that much. But when I'm not interjecting, I have to mute. So I stumbled across this band the other day that a friend of mine pointed me out to, and it's normally music I wouldn't listen to because anybody who knows me, I'm a hardcore punk fan. Everything from No Effects all the way down to Sex Pistols. That's what I listen to. And when I listened to this band, the music just, I don't know, it just stuck to me like it was. I couldn't figure out what it was. So I wanted to introduce the band to you guys. Their name is Pace House. You guys there? Taylor?
They might be jamming.
I guess they are. They're supposed to be here.
I see their icon is there.
You guys talking to us? Can you hear us? Well, I guess they fell asleep. We had them on hold so long that that's my only guess. Unless they got some audio problems.
They're coming. 1 sec, Mike is acting up.
Oh.
His mic's acting up.
Here's some music.
Oh, he just muted himself. The joys of...
So Brian's a punk rocker, right?
Oh, yeah, punk.
I love punk rock, dude.
All the way, dude. All of it, yes.
Clash.
My dream is to actually have a private concert with the...
Hey, can you hear us?
Yeah. Oh, we can hear them now.
Right on.
There they are.
What's up, guys?
I wanted to make one more thing I forgot. Please, I'm sorry. Fixed by Doc is Ryan's YouTube channel again. Please subscribe to it. And sorry, moving on. I didn't mean to forget that.
And Press Reset Earth has just joined us. Sorry, I would have sent you the link a minute ago, but I got slapped with introducing the band that we have on now. So guys, tell us if you will, how did you guys get together, and what inspired you to make this album that you made?
Let me just say that kind of came together over about half a year. Just meeting different people and old people that we knew and just putting it together. And I don't know. It was a balancing act. That's why we name it like that. I don't know.
What's the significance of your name?
It was named after a house and that I used to live in, and everybody was kind of around. Kind of did a lot of psychedelics, not gonna lie. So,
I thought that might be it.
cool. Pace isn't really defined. It's kind of open. It's just whatever you want it to be. It can be deep. It can be high. I don't know. We just call it the pace, and that's what we refer it to. It's not really definition.
We just try to represent it.
The different signatures or the measures that you use in your music. What brought you to pick those particular types of measures instead of just staying with the typical 4/4?
I honestly think the changes flow better than just keeping it the same. It keeps it interesting. We listen to math rock, most of us do, so we're kind of influenced by that.
I gotta ask, were you influenced by Rush by any chance? Because I know they do a lot of that kind of stuff, don't they?
I like Rush.
Oh yeah, definitely a ton of progressive rock music. Math rock as a whole is basically an offshoot of progressive rock.
Right.
The time signatures and changing keys and all that.
It's called math, like algebra math rock?
Yeah, it's not a schoolhouse rock. It's definitely its own genre. And I think that the genre itself got named because someone was making fun of the craziness of the time signature changes and stuff.
I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but Thelonious Monk said that all musicians are subconsciously mathematicians.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I'm a huge Monk fan, like, and for me, I'm into everything, but Monk always had really erratic sort of timings that made his music so interesting. That just the different time signatures that they would use. So I really have an appreciation for rock and roll bands that break the norm, get out of the 4x4 kind of thing, and really experiment.
Now, do any of your songs have meanings, or do you try to portray any type of message with your music?
There's definitely a message.
All of them have kind of meaning. We got lyrics posted up. I don't know. They're very interpretational. Let me think of a song real quick. What we got? You wanna know?
I mean, it just can be looked at from a lot of different ways, like depending on who's listening to the lyrics. And I think each song kind of ties in to the other songs as well. It's a bunch of separate ideas to form like one big idea, which is like the balancing act.
You guys are like kind of old school in the sense that you think of your music as more like in an album sense, right? Rather than just singles, like what is most artists today using iTunes and stuff like that. You're more like the old school where the album has to have a whole sort of feel to it.
Yeah, conceptual for sure.
That's the word.
Well, awesome. All the songs were not finished at like one and then one started over. It was like we had all these ideas and they all came together in like one instance. Like, no joke.
Together in like 1 month.
Why not? I took the time to listen to the music, and I found it really unique. And I know Brian explained to me that instead of a 4-beat, just so everybody knows, you go a 9-beat. Is that correct?
Yeah, we do that in one song.
Right, and it was interesting because I thought at first it started very chaotic for my mind, and then as I listened to it, it's almost like it became a subliminal kind of a rhythm, and it made me feel really good. I don't know how else to describe it. Is that cool?
It really tickles your like way of thinking.
Yeah.
It throws you into some different kind of flow, and we try to achieve that.
Set the pace.
I got a question for you guys. One thing that always interested me is, these artists like Jimi Hendrix and others that did psychedelics while they performed and stuff. how much of a role does mind-altering drugs play in your music? Like, how do you use it to your advantage? In other words, if it is to your advantage, how does that come about?
It kind of.
It influences, but doesn't make it. I would say that.
Yeah, it's kind of where the ideas first came from. It just led us in the right direction at first, and then we just knew where to go from there, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't. We don't want to be like a stoner band, but
yeah, I would say this in advance. It wasn't founded on drugs, so. But I mean.
Yeah, but all the cool music, right? All the cool music out there is always done by people who experiment. So.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Right. Don't worry about being labeled or anything like that. We just enjoy the music, and we're really interested how you came about writing it and that kind of stuff. So don't be afraid at all. Go ahead.
There's actually I know the time signatures are kind of chaotic in a sense. If you listen to something else, you can usually tap your foot to it. And it's funny when we're playing at a bar or something, people try to dance to it, and we always get a kick out of that. Of course, we didn't write it to look at those people, but
you still can't dance to it though. Is the thing.
You can. But it's more of like interpretive dancing,
It's like instead of being based around separate measures, it's based more around like an entire song, and it just keeps the straight like flow through the entire song from beginning to end, and it's like that in every single one of the songs. So it's still like straight and like poppy, I guess, in a sense. Like people.
It's flexible.
Yeah.
You just dance like a deadhead.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
I think the best thing we've seen is. We had a couple of interpretive dancers, or they were drunk. It's either or, but they were dancing to some of our stuff, and seemed like they knew what they were doing.
You just gotta pick up on it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
You guys played. Have you guys played a lot of the local clubs in Alabama?
yeah, so one's around our area. We're trying to branch out. We played a few shows out of town.
Not many though.
It's a slow process. Alabama's not, big on our type of music, per se.
Is there any other bands that you work with or that have a similar sort of style to you that you could, sometimes link up and do other gigs with?
It would be on like the opposite side of genres, but there are maybe like one band that's.
There's the only other band that comes close is based out of this band, and it's me and the kind of do a more extreme version of the time signature changes. We actually just see how far we can go. I think Pace House is like a lot more listenable, but the other band that me and the drummer do is called Mount Vesuvius Death March, and it's not metal because that the name kind of sounds like it, but it's definitely it's in the same genre, but like on the other side of the spectrum, which is what Paul was talking about.
So I got to ask, what other bands would you say influenced you guys, like throughout your life and also in your present life?
Well, I'll actually kind of go around and let everyone say what's influenced them. It's kind of funny because me, Paul, and Mason all listen to these kind of underground bands, and our drummer, his favorite bands were like Dave Matthews and Kiss, Yeah. So it's but it works.
Mainstream, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's mainstream.
Yeah, he's building the drummer. No knock on drummers. I love drummers.
But I'll start with Mason. We'll just go around kind of say what we influenced us.
Well, up and really until after I got out of high school, I actually listened to pretty much nothing but country music, and that was when I was first learning to play guitar and singing while playing guitar and stuff like that and playing shows. So that probably had a bit of influence on me, but I didn't really start taking music seriously till after high school, and that's when I started listening to some other things. And I really like bands kind of like Empire of the Sun is one that really influenced me. I really like John Mayer.
I like them a lot. Yeah.
I like
Empire
them
of the Sun's
too.
really good.
Yeah.
John Mayer's just guitar style really influenced me. I really became interested in playing like a finger picking style instead of using guitar picks. So that was also a big part of my.
That's my specialty, by the way.
Oh really?
Yes.
Well, cool. And yeah, but I know I also really like some like modern indie bands like Local Natives. It's a really good one that Paul showed me, and they became a pretty big influence on me as well. So go ahead, Paul.
All right, I'm gonna tell my influences now. There's one math rock band that the guitar sounds similar to us. I would say. No, it's they're called Pretend. They're super small. They're out of California. I don't really know how I found them. Probably on Spotify or something, but I just listened the crap out of their album, and it is like so killer. It sounds like you're dreaming when you listen to it. Yeah. It just tickles your ears in like a crazy way. And also like a kind of like folk, kind of psychedelic rock band called Midlake. They're not really that big, but they're freaking awesome, and not enough people listen to them.
They're getting kind of big. I've seen their albums in stores.
They've been at it for a while.
Yeah. Me? Yeah. Okay, well, here I go with my mainstreamness. I've been inspired, well, when I was 6, I got my first drum set and started playing Kiss right away because, I don't know, when I was little, there was this concert DVD in my living room, and my parents never really wanted me to watch, but I found a way to it, and listened to Kiss, and that was basically like the only music that, you know, I didn't listen to on the radio. That's what I ventured into myself. And then, so I started playing that when I got my drum set, and then it kind of started moving towards, I guess, Rush. My love for Rush has kind of gone away because it's just that I just don't really.
No more Rush.
How many pads does Neil Peart have on his average set?
I wouldn't ask me that because I'm probably I'm not a Neil Peart fan, and I will go ahead and put that out there.
They are incredible musicians. They are, but I never connected with their music.
I have no. I respect him for what he does, but he doesn't respect his fans. So what's the point of me putting my respect out there? So yeah,
Can we send that out there?
He doesn't.
Get this to
you know, they'll have meet and greets, and Neil Peart sits back and, you know, chills in the dressing room. Doesn't even talk to his fans. I just don't like that. But let's see. Then Dave Matthews in the past few years has been my biggest influence. Carter Beauford has definitely. Well, he was the only drummer that I really knew who played like me, because we both play like open-handed, which is a different style than usual. And so it was a lot easier for me to kind of get my drumming style towards his and learn a lot of stuff from him because of how similar we played.
Is that like the German style, the open hand?
I don't know if it's German. I'm left-handed, so it works out easier.
Right.
So I don't know. I still use my right on my right hand. It just kind of, I still lead with my right hand, but it makes everything easier on me because I guess I'm just complicated.
You ever listen to jazz drummers like Gene Krupa or like a lot of the great ones that were around in the golden age of jazz?
I mean, I haven't ventured into jazz that much except for probably with Taylor. And
Whoops.
but
you've got a whole world to explore, and you will be blown away. So
I still have a while.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes and see who I venture into next.
So you guys are all together right now. Are you guys going to play for us?
We're in the process of setting up. We got mics. Taylor's kind of running back and forth, trying to set it up.
That'd be cool.
But it is
That's
high
why
possibility.
that's why we always set up in advance. We make sure that all of our ducks are in a row. But that's okay. That's live production.
Oh no, sorry. Did I ask a question out of step here?
No, not at all.
Okay, cool.
So you guys, do you guys have like a big ambition to, make it big, or are like what are your goals with?
I mean, we have high hopes, and we're not setting a limit for us. We're just trying to play as much as we can, get as much exposure, write as much music. I don't know. We really focus on the music first, and then worry about the other stuff, because I feel like if you write good music, somebody's going to listen to it.
Oh yeah, and nowadays it's better than ever because the internet means you can listen to, like you said before, or one of you guys said, the band that you liked in California that wasn't well known.
Yeah.
And you can reach out and send your music across the world instantly, so it really creates a different dynamic.
Yeah, it's awesome because you can just acquire random fans that you've never played for or contacted. They could just stumble upon you one day, and
exactly. It's really is a golden era for music in many ways, for just being able to reach an audience. There's never been a time like this where you could make music in your home kind of thing, and people across the world could hear it.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. There's a lot of competition though, and everybody's kind of jumping on that wagon now.
Well, there's one way to rise above, and that's just to get really good. If you're really, really good,
yeah,
you'll always have work, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Well, we've been playing shows about every week, so it's going pretty steady for us.
Do you have any upcoming shows you'd like to let our listening audience know about?
Yeah, we have a show this coming Saturday. It's in Florence, Alabama, at the Inn Theater. We never played there before, but I've heard it was a pretty good venue.
Yeah, I know a lot of good local bands that have played there from back in the late 80s, early 90s when I was into that scene.
Sounds like a cool place to play at.
Yeah, I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Anybody else have any questions for the guys? Taylor set up and ready to go yet?
Taylor, are you ready and set up to go?
Where are we going?
Is that a yes or no? What? Yeah. You're. I think
we're gonna try drums too. Actually, I think we got some mics for that.
As long as it's mic'd up, give it a try.
Yeah.
One thing I could take from this is if you guys all got that Alabama accent. It's quite something.
You think so?
Yeah, well, I feel like I'm listening to Brian's Family.
Yeah, you totally have an accent, eh?
See, now I've actually been told that I don't have a Southern accent from people in Michigan.
There's always something stronger, right?
And, yes, there's always stronger Southern accents. Oh yeah.
Well, are we about to? What do I need to do? Do I get ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're getting ready to play.
Okay. Just let us know the track title and the album it's from, so everybody listening knows, and we'll be good.
All right, we'll let you know in a minute.
Oh, you want to play acoustic for a second? Yeah, play acoustic.
Well,
Red Pill has re-entered the room. What's up, Red Pill?
What's going on?
You haven't got a bully yet?
I'm blown away.
Oh my goodness.
That's the scariest talk ever.
It is. Yeah.
I gotta say that's why I've been working on it like mad, because boy oh boy, is that ever the nightmare scenario for me.
What do you really? I mean, okay, we know something's fishy, right? While we're waiting for the guys to set up, we're going to do some more Ebola talk.
Okay.
There's man, Where did we
Something
even
fishy.
start?
I don't know,
Where
man.
do you even start with this? You know, you got this whole fear hype stuff going on of we're all gonna die from Ebola, and look at these guys in these pressurized suits, and then you got homeboy standing there like, you know, what's up? You know, Ebola's nothing.
We're not going to die from Ebola. We're going to die from the New World Order.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever way they want to exterminate us using the pretext of Ebola. I just think it's the worst possible thing, and I think that's perfect for them. That's why I'm so scared.
It'll be in the vaccines. It'll be something in the vaccines, I think.
I'm starting to think
there too.
I'm starting to think it's a psyop, to be honest. Well, you know, it's not fake. I'm not saying it's, you know, Ebola doesn't exist. I'm saying they're probably hyping it more than they should. I think maybe it seems possible that they brought these people to the U.S. just to scare everyone. They're probably going to roll out a vaccine like Red Pill. I think you're on point. I think Free Radio is on point with this, and I'm still kind of I'm approaching this cautiously because it could be real bad. So I want to be careful.
Did you hear our guest Brian Lipinski?
No, I just came home from work. Yeah.
Well, my word, you must listen to this guy. He knows his stuff. He's worked at FEMA he had an incredible amount of information, and
I'm mad I missed that.
Well, I have to say that a big thank you out to Kaz, Kaz versus Wild, and he introduced me to Ryan Lipinski, and you know, in regard to this, Kaz just joined us. I want to give you a big thank you, Kaz, for introducing the whole group.
Thank you, Kaz.
That was awesome.
Thank you, Kaz.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, great.
I want to just take a minute and let Kaz have the floor for just a second because he has an announcement he wants to make on our show tonight.
Well, I first have to apologize and explain why I'm so late, but I have a very, very good reason, and that it's my son's birthday today, and I just couldn't miss that. So, with all due respect, I got here as soon as I could. But thank you, 49, for the floor for just a second. I truly appreciate that. What I do is I'm a huge survivalist. I do free training, and I share all my information for free. And each and every year I go out into the forest on state land in Michigan. No running water, no running electricity, no running gas, and practice survival for an entire 7 days. And I invite whoever wants to go to come, and I don't charge any fee. I look at it like we're here together as a group collectively, and we want to learn from each other. And I do that each and every year. This will be the 5th year in a row that I've done that. And this is going to be my Kaz vs. Wild Season 5. It's going to be from September 21st to the 27th. So anyone who wants to come and join us is more than welcome to come. And I have a special guest coming this year, and ironically, that is Ryan Lipinski. He's going to be at my survival camp this year. He's coming all the way from Pennsylvania, and I'm really, really excited about that. So if you want to meet him in person, there's an excellent opportunity to do so.
Nice. And maybe our producer, he can catch a ride out with them. That's 1,000 miles he's coming to travel to see you. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's just off the top of my head. It's in that ballpark. I don't know the exact miles, but he's coming from Pittsburgh. Then just from Pittsburgh to Detroit, I want to say is like maybe a 6-hour drive. So from my house to where we actually go to the survival practice point is another 4 hours. So if he's going from Pittsburgh to where we're going to be at, that's about 1,000 miles. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I just got back driving for about 10 hours north, straight north, kind of on the Northwest Territories, Alberta border. So yeah, I support survivalists, and I support getting out there, learn your stuff, learn to start fire, be prepared. Don't have anybody you have to rely on. Rely on yourself and know how to help your family. That's my whole motto. And we have a big thing here that I always say, men go out and learn and provide. Women go out and learn and teach everybody. So teach, learn, and teach.
Yeah, that's a great thing. And like I said, it's for free. I don't charge anything, and I think that's great because I'm not here to make money off of it. I'm here to expand our circle of knowledge, and I think that's much more important than putting some coins in my pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Great.
Yeah.
Is the band ready? Are we?
Sorry, holding them up.
I'm messaging them. They were doing a sound check. I think they're almost ready.
Cool.
On that note, I did want to mention, yeah, if you guys, for research purposes, you should definitely watch the two films, Contagion, World War Z, as the vaccine agenda is outlined in these two films, and also, of course, if you haven't, check out a little bit of the 28 Days Later. At least read up about it. But
that's a classic.
It's all outlined, so it's pretty.
That one will scare the bejesus out of you, and I haven't seen the other two that you mentioned. I'm gonna download them.
yeah, you should definitely watch it. It'll once you're aware of this stuff, it'll shock you. You know.
Oh, I'm already shocked, but dude, I'm fucking totally shocked, and I've never been so scared about any story that I've ever covered. Nothing comes
well, think
close.
about this: if you connect the zombie cannibal attacks to this rage virus and to the rabies Ebola vaccine that they've licensed, and obviously it seems that they're going to roll out and may mutate into this thing, which could allow this scenario being realistic scenario. So it is scary. It is absolutely scary, and it's real.
Yeah. You combine that with the executive orders and everything else that's going on, and my word, it looks like they are bringing in this new world order right before our eyes.
Yes, sir. They're amping up the whole thing. It's like getting to the next stage, like for real this time. And
people should start prepping right now, just in case. I mean, you make sure you got water, make sure you got food, make sure you've got the kind of gear like Ryan Lipinski was saying, the kind of things, soap obviously to clean your hands, and as I said, fresh water, supplies. Guns, if you've got them, anything, I mean, that would give you a chance.
Whiskey.
Whiskey's good. It's important.
Damn, great.
It's important. Cigarettes for training and barter. I mean, cigarettes and medication are gonna be the first to be screamed for.
Oh yeah.
And booze will be the another one, and those are as good as gold, not quite as good as gold, I don't believe, but
Better.
It is. They are great commodities to have. Yeah, they're good. I know.
I tell that to Brian all the time. So you can't eat it.
It's true. It's true. But I do back gold, but it's always good to have your supplies up and ready. Have things like garlic and naturopath. Get a book and learn about plants and indigenous species around your area. What is an acetaminophen? If you're, bitten like crazy by mosquitoes, what kind of plants will assist you in taking away, irritation? And there are so many things out there that are absolutely amazing in the woods. You have a whole shopping market right there, and you don't even know it. People die for lack of knowledge, and knowledge is so important.
There's a couple books too that I would recommend that I have. SOS Survival is one of them, and the other one is What If Technology Fails, and they're big books, and they tell you everything about how to build shelters, how to clean water, how to just survive in the wild, what plants you can eat, what to look for. And really, don't rely on your iPad or your computer, because that could be shut down real quick. And you have a book, it won't disappear on you.
It depends on how thick it is to pack it away. But what do you call it? The outfitters, they have these neat little plastic books that can get wet in that, and they teach you how to skin a varmint or a deer, or what cuts, and
this book I'm talking about has it all.
So
right, and if you're you said it depends on how big the book is, right? Well, if you're Cassidy Stay, you can just use a shrinking charm to make it disappear and go into a bag.
Anime fan.
No, she loves Harry Potter.
Go ahead.
Wingardium Leviosa.
Yeah. Expelioso. I wanted to say, I wanted to say that I really want everybody to recognize that Jeff and Red Pill and Kate Slade are also having a show that's coming up on Thursdays. So if you want more information, and I'm so excited for you guys because this is everything that I was hoping other people would start to do. Because
yeah, well, we're gonna see. We want it to be like a sister show where we're gonna, have the same type of people on the show. All you guys will always be welcome, and we're gonna iron it out. I mean, me and Red Pill have some chatting to do about this to get the finer details. It's gonna be on FPRN as well. I think we're gonna change the time, if not the day. We may move it to Wednesday. Red Pill said that would be okay for him. Have to talk to Kate just because of KJ's show, and I felt so bad because KJ's like, oh my God, you put it at the same time as my show.
Yes.
I'm like, oh no, I forgot.
Yes, I was going to say Rigged Reality is at the same time Thursday night around what, 8 p.m. Eastern
8
Standard?
to 10, so we might do 10 to 12, or we might move it to Wednesday, which I could do, and then if we do move it to Wednesday, then we have your show, our show, and then KJ's show. Yeah. And it's a nice sort of flow.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's a nice little trio,
Yeah,
right
and
there, all the week.
Yeah, and it's nice because I look at it like people turn into the nightly news every night, and instead of doing that, maybe you might look at us as the alternative news network.
Exactly.
There's nothing more flattering. Imitation is flattery, and I'm really happy that you guys are doing this as well, and KJ's doing his. It just accents each other, I think, so nicely.
Yeah, it's going to build our audience. It's going to help get more out. In fact, what I'm going to do for you guys tonight is I'm going to definitely put up tonight's show on the main channel, Free Radio Revolution, once you get it up, to get a lot more attention and all to your thing. And I also think it's extremely important, the information that was discussed, especially dealing with Ebola. Yeah. So, I mean, the whole idea is to build strong networks. Our only strength is each other, really. Yeah. I mean, that's what they want to sever, really. I mean, they are definitely trying to sever our alliances that we're building and throw all kinds of monkey wrenches into our strength and getting information out there. And, when you think about it, one of the great things about this is that we can have different people come on every night, and you guys might want to cover one story or two stories, and we might cover other stories that you're not covering, kind of thing, and have the ability to branch out and cover more material.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what we've been doing now, is like you'll cover Sandy Hook more, and so I've kind of avoided it a little bit. We had a few guests on regarding Sandy Hook, but you guys have really focused on it, and really brought attention to how serious.
I haven't done Sandy Hook in I can't even remember.
It's a little while, but I mean, you were doing little shows on it, and it's great.
Oh yeah.
Talks, and it's informative.
There's also a Sandy Hook group that I think are on Thursday. Somebody told me that as well. So.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So that's.
But I wanted to say congratulations, and we look forward to hearing it. And I really do wish you guys the very best and great success.
Thank you very much.
And if other people want to learn how to do this, I'll help them. It's the more the merrier, I think.
Speaking of helping, me, Justin, and Police State Radio did a video where I kept watching. I watch a lot of these internet vloggers, as they're called, because they fascinate me. I like to watch them when they do live streams, and I like to watch how they do it. And it came to my attention that all of these guys were doing this wrong. So I went with Justin and Police State Radio, and I made a video showing you guys the difference between using YouTube Live and Google Plus. And you guys haven't checked that out and you're interested to help you when you start doing your shows, go watch that video so you can see the differences.
Brian, you said Google Plus or YouTube Live. What would your recommendation be as a better...
Google Plus, always. And the reason why is because Google Plus owns YouTube now. Okay, guys? I'm sorry. I hate it. But Google owns YouTube now. So of course everything.
I didn't know
that. So of course I know you didn't, but you know it just kind of drive it home. So everything is shifting over to Google. Yes, and I know it sucks, but because that's happening, if you do a live stream through through your channel, you know, your back-end channel, you log into your YouTube channel, and then you go to live streams, and you set up a live event there. Yes, you can use Hangouts there, but it's not going to be listed over in Google Plus where everybody is being pushed over to. So you're missing out on a whole audience of people and possibilities of people to share it with other people, et cetera, because it's only on YouTube at that point. When you go and you log into your Google Plus page, and then you click on events, or not events, but you click on Hangouts, you click on Google Hangouts on air, and then you set up the event. You can set it up for days in advance, which is what I'm trying to do with this. I want to get to a point where you guys know who we're going to have a week in advance, 2 weeks in advance, so we know, and you know, you guys, we can properly prepare questions, et cetera, et cetera.
Just don't give the reminders a week in advance.
Well, no,
I
wouldn't give them reminders.
Yeah, I did a
but they would
promo
be set
early
up. Go
because I
ahead.
was leaving. Yeah, sorry. I had to get the promo done. I had to leave, and I didn't want to leave Brian without a promo, so I just threw it up there, and yeah, so he can just replay it kind of thing.
They dropped.
Apparently, Justin's having a hard time. He wanted to interject, and he's not sure if we can hear him. Go ahead, Justin. Can you say something? Oh, he fell now. Did he fall off? Fall off?
No, Justin didn't fall off. He's here. The band dropped off, but I'm talking to him now. They just dropped off for some reason. They'll be back in a second.
By the way, tonight Google is not our best friend. Apparently, in the chat room, when you play the live feed, it's really a weird sound. So Google has it out
I checked on this. Yeah, I checked on this myself as well. I don't know what is going on with this, guys. This is like the weirdest thing. I've never seen this before in a Google Hangout. Everything was set up the same as always, but when you try to watch the video on YouTube, it's just a big like feedback type of mess where nothing is even discernible.
Yeah.
You can't even pick out words.
So FPRN is our backup. We'll have to utilize their feed once they get the upload onto their site, and we'll utilize FPRN. I'm so grateful that they're our backup. Thank you, FPRN Radio. But yeah, so they have free downloads, and you can watch a show or listen to the show. And I don't know that we'll have visual effects with it, but we have apps to listen live, call-in lines to listen, and call-in lines to chat. And the call-in line is 567-314-9296. So everybody over on FPRN, hi, thanks for coming out. And everybody in our chat room can hear us.
The band said that they're doing their final sound check, and they'll be back in just 1 more minute. So,
okay, great.
So open mics.
Yes. Great. I wanted to ask Press Reset Earth a question.
What's up?
You okay? Yes.
Case closed.
I was going to come out with a video. I was going to come out with a video in response to yours called "Case Really Closed." So you're lucky I didn't come out. I'm kidding. No, I had a question about the. I was wondering if you could explain to everyone what you thought about the show, because we talked about the programming and television show right now. That's really crazy, but especially the show, The Strain, really crazy show. What do you think about that? Have you seen all of it, or?
I haven't seen the most recent episode, but yeah, it seems to me that I haven't seen again the most recent episode, but it does seem to me that it's like a combination of EBOLA and releasing like the demons of hell, like Satan, you know.
Right, there's that whole satanic element in that show. For sure.
Right. So it's almost like the strain is actually sort of like a demonic bacteria or virus and it all started on a plane, and you know, it's the same thing with this kind of stuff, and I guess that's how it would happen. It would happen anyway, but yeah, it's just very interesting, and it's like an ancient evil. It's like awakening an ancient evil
awakening. That's always the recurring theme, of course.
Yes, Lovecraft.
Now, you said the virus started on an airplane, right?
Yep.
Okay, that's the same way it happened in 12 Monkeys?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you got to expect that to follow every storyline that involves an outbreak, because a global pandemic, that's how it would spread. But at the same time, it's just so weird and creepy that they came out with this as Ebola is breaking out, the worst in history, and this show airs, and it involves demonic, undertones. I don't even say, it's not even demonic undertones, it's demonic overtones, like overdoing it. Like it's it's a very interesting show.
Why do I
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and did you catch and then also Amerishima 2012 just caught a current commercial that was current, of course, with cleaning of the biohazard, the progressive commercial. So it's just all over the place. I don't know if you caught that in my video, but
yeah, no, I did with the progressive commercial. Yeah,
yeah. So that's yeah. I mean, it's just insanity. And also, I Am Legend. That's another one.
Yes.
It just goes on and
Yeah,
on.
they've been remaking that film for decades. The first one was Vincent Price, and then made one with Charlton Heston, the Omega Man. You got to see that one. With the family, a bunch of albino black people. It's just insane, man. But it's the same theme, and it's the same thing that at the end of the film, it's the cure comes from the government, comes from the soldiers and the helicopters.
It's always the same. It's always now you're getting it, Jeff.
Oh, come on! I've been getting it all along.
No, I know. I'm only kidding. No, I had an idea. No, I had not an idea, but I had a thought regarding the CDC and Atlanta. Atlanta, the location, Atlanta, Georgia. Is it a coincidence, I guess, that the CDC and the Georgia Guidestones and this whole the depopulation, Georgia Guidestones, CDC,
Walking Dead,
they're going to be in this whole plan of depopulation with the virus, with the pandemic. Does that all connect to you guys?
Of course it does. Yeah, and then you look at Atlanta, and they, there's been whistleblowers and leaked documents and stuff saying that the New World Order capitals would be Denver and Atlanta. The capital of the East and the capital of the West. That's why you have the Denver airport and the underground facilities there and all that. And then Atlanta was going to also play another huge role in the implementation of, the New World Order. And then you have it,
Can I add one more thing too?
Yeah.
The mayor of Atlanta attending this year's Bilderberg meeting.
Yeah. Bilderberg. Yep.
So is that so? The CDC originally, conceived or put, they had that in mind, right? Do you guys?
Do you guys remember what happened? It's been so long since I watched it, but the first season of the Walking Dead culminates, if I'm not mistaken, at the CDC, where the only guy that's left has completely lost it. He's gone bonkers. They tell them that everyone's been affected, right? Or I think Rick was told that in private, sort of thing, and he kept it to himself.
Yeah.
But like that's it. It's done, right? And that's the CDC.
Yes. Yeah. And they blew it up and everything, and no, that's and then you got to look at Atlanta, man. Atlanta is one of the most occult cities in the whole country, if not the world. The new occult, though, it's not really an ancient. Obviously, it wasn't built. It's only been built the past few hundred years. But I mean, it's a huge part of their plan for the actual new world order. You know what I mean? So, and then you got.
I think their plan is just to let New York go to shit. It's gonna, whatever.
That's kind of what it showed in iPet Goat, is that it just kind of dissolves and falls apart. But Atlanta was also in. What was the one with the girl? She was kind of Alice was the computer. What was the name of that show? And they were deep underground, and there was zombies everywhere, and she was like she ran around with shorts on and a gun. She looked like Lara Croft. Gosh, what was her name?
can't think
Oh
of a
wait, are you
TV.
talking about the new movie?
Well, they did 4 shows on it.
Oh no, I don't
4
think so. No.
It started
Yeah.
with an R.
Also, another thing,
Oh,
like
Resident Evil.
Yeah, Resident Evil.
oh, and that's all about that as well. I was gonna say, I only play games on the iPad sort of thing, just strategy, tower defense. But
I played that entire series, the entire Resident Evil
Oh
series.
yes.
From beginning to end. Yes, I've played them all, and I've watched all the films, and it's just sick. There's sick with truth, all in it. It's just amazing.
It's littered with symbols and all kinds of foreshadowing of what's going to happen, right, in these games.
Oh, for sure. Oh, that's another. Of course, video games is another. My subscriber mentioned to me recently. It's Resident Evil 5, in particular, and also there's another game called The Last of Us. All this programming, right? The Last of Us. I mean.
Yeah, all the films coming out. I mean, they're all about chaos and destruction. I mean, every film. Like I did that when I was, because like I was shocked. Of course, I watched The Walking Dead on a feed, like the last episode, and so I had all my notepad. I was going to do all the notes on the show itself to find the Illuminati symbols or whatever they're trying to communicate to us through their cryptic sort of Illuminati crap, and it ended up being the commercials. I was blown away. Every commercial, every show, like they've got this movie called The Purge.
Yeah.
You know, like for the next 48 hours, all laws are void and murder is legal and you can do anything you want.
All crime is legal.
That's so original, guys.
It's ridiculous. I've heard a lot of my anarchist friends and stuff talk about how like as if you eliminated laws for 48 hours, everybody would start killing each other. I mean, come on, that wouldn't happen. It's just
it's a stupid movie. It's really stupid. It's just really to convey the message and the symbolism. All right, it's just programming. But
I also think they're trying to mock us all the time. I think that's a lot about what The Walking Dead is. Like I think they call us The Walking Dead. They call the sheeple The Walking Dead. Of course. Right, and of course they told us to prepare at the Super Bowl, right? And they had the Illuminati, all the symbols, the Bruno Mars, all that, and the horrible commercial there. Maserati. They're coming out to tell us that our time is short. I really believe that, and I'm not one of these guys that presses the panic button. I like to press the reset button. But I don't press the panic button. I don't do Jason A. fear porn, but I'm starting to think that Jason A. might be 100% right.
No, we all know he's 100% right. It's just the way of going about.
Yeah, you got to look at it this way though. A lot of that stuff, this fear porn, it's always been about World War III. It's always been about FEMA camps, nukes, but really the biggest threat is what we're about to face, or potentially about to face, this pandemic thing. That is the biggest threat to humanity. Period. Okay, pandemic, some sort of
I'm sorry, I need to interject. I kind of think the biggest threat that I think they're implementing this into the mindset because I believe what they're trying to do is enact martial law to get the soldiers in, to get our guns. I think that is what they fear the most.
Yeah, but the soldiers aren't going to take the guns. Because
if they're UN.
United Nations.
Yeah, UN soldiers.
I believe they will.
Yeah, they will. Yeah. They will.
They'll at least try.
Yeah, but here's my question. Here's my question. Where will all the American soldiers be when that happens? They'll be right here, and they ain't going to let that happen.
They've already got what Ryan Lipinski was telling us, and most people, I guess, that are into our circles kind of know this stuff, but that they've already had a huge purge. I mean, they already contacted everybody in the military, any of the armed forces, any of the generals, to test their loyalty to the state. And those who expressed loyalty to the people were quickly removed or eliminated or whatever, right? And shipped off to the Pacific Ocean or something, right? Just get rid of them. You guys, what we have to ask ourselves is, what is the primary objective of the New World Order?
It's to depopulate the population. I think that's
it's to what? It's to purge us.
Yes. Yeah. It's to kill us all. That's the end game. It's to kill everyone. And but even
What's
if you
the easiest way to kill us all off? Think about it. Nuclear war. That's why I say nuclear war wouldn't happen, because they love the planet even more than we do, right? Because they're the ones that go around their jet planes. They have their private islands. They have their their naturalist festivals.
Well, I wouldn't say they love the planet, but yeah, they wouldn't destroy the planet because they wouldn't have anywhere to go.
Exactly. They want to party on this planet. So what is the most logical way to get rid of most of humanity? Well, the only way that has ever happened in the history of humanity, other than the Ice Age, is through a massive outbreak.
Yeah.
Yep. That's why I'm saying. That's why I think the CDC is in Atlanta, because that's always been their plan.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Well,
No, this plan's been in the works for at least 100 years.
That's what I'm saying.
Literally. And it's unbelievable that some people might hear that and be like, "You're nuts." No. They wrote about stuff like this, all throughout the years. Depopulation. They even wrote about World War III because that is, they want to start World War III as well. But
I can take you to Georgia and show you in stone where they want no more than 500 million people on this planet.
Yeah.
Right.
It's really that easy.
It's always been their number, whether it's Ted Turner, the Georgia Guidestones, or Henry Kissinger, or whoever it might be. That crazy professor that I put up on the video there. What a nut job that guy is. Humanity is a cancer on the planet, basically, and Ebola is the cure. That's exactly what he says over and over again, right? Like, and gives speeches, gets standing ovations, wins all kinds of awards. Places like the University of Texas, and there's a reason.
Bianca, right? Bianca?
Yeah, Eric Bianca.
Yeah, what a scumbag, man.
Bill Gates will be proud of that guy.
It looks like the band has rejoined us. I think they're ready to go finally.
That's cool. Let's go.
You there, guys? Let's see if they unmute and talk to us or not.
Hey.
There they are.
Hello, you can hear us?
Yes, we can hear you guys fine.
Really, 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 really sorry. Thanks for being patient.
Don't worry, we had a great talk.
we got plenty to talk about. So you guys ready to go?
It seems like it, Taylor. Are you ready?
Yeah, do one more and then I think we should be good to go.
One more sound check?
Yeah.
One more
One.
What? No.
One more sound check.
One more. That's what they always tell us.
Hey, Justin isn't muted, is he? Because he keeps Skyping me saying that nobody can hear him.
You haven't heard him all night.
Yeah, he hasn't said a word. He's trying to say something. We can't.
No,
Can't hear
he's
him.
not muted.
Oh,
He's
darn.
not muted at all.
Maybe go out and back in, Justin. We'll save your spot. Promise.
I can see him now.
Yeah, he's here.
There's his face.
Okay.
He looks like he's having a good time.
I don't see him.
I think the crickets
There
were
he
coming
is.
from him. I think that's where they were coming from. 'Cause I kept hearing crickets for some reason.
He's in the subway.
Well, I mean, you can't hear me.
Oh, yeah.
No, Tim Hortons.
Yeah, we can.
Tim Hortons, yes. Going for a coffee.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Oh, really?
Go in and
My gosh, what the heck?
Let's have some live fun, guys. Go up to the cashier and tell them you will give them the equivalent of $5 if they can tell you how many buildings fell on 9/11.
No,
have some fun.
I got even a better one. Go up and start coughing and say, "I think I have Ebola."
The coffee.
Oh, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
You'd be on the 11 o'clock news.
Yeah.
First case of Ebola, Peter Mansbridge, right? Peter Baldbridge. Be there?
Yeah, Peter Baldbridge.
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah, maybe we might finally have a real case of Ebola televised.
Oh, yeah.
David Muir would show up instantly. He'd be there.
Yeah, no, I was trying to talk for a few of them, but I mean, I was listening to Ryan, and I mean that was really great to have him on. I mean, like you were saying, I mean, my gosh, the amount of information that he just gave, that was just absolutely mind blowing. So I look forward to making sure that gets out. So yeah, absolutely. So I mean, how are you doing, guys? I mean, I don't know for sure. I mean, see how many towers fell in 9/11?
Yes. Yeah. Go right ahead. That'd be awesome.
Ask him how many children were killed at Sandy Hook.
The guys, I was talking to Greg, who I was supposed to do a show with.
Yeah,
really
sure, $5. $5.
Yeah, I did this once
Or
to a
Timmy's.
guy trying to collect money. He was on the side of the road with other people collecting money, and I told him I had $15 in my hand, and I'd give him $5 for every question he could answer right. And they were all 9/11 related questions, so he was only able to answer one of them. So, which he did know 3 buildings fell. That much he knew.
Luke Rodowski, and he goes in the sports bar, and he's like, who is the Secretary of State, or who's asking all these questions that you'd think anybody would know. Nobody gets it. Nobody gets anything. But who's the quarterback of this team? Right away they got it.
Yeah, I think $5 is a little too much though, Justin. Maybe $1. They'll do it for $1.
Yeah,
But Greg and I came up with an amazing idea. I mean, I'm sure I'm not the first to think of this, but it was to take, like I have an iPad, for instance, so I might do this. I might go downtown Montreal, right to the center of the city, and just go up to people and show them Building 7 and say, do you know what that is? And see what their response is.
Yeah, Luke Rodowski did that as well.
By the way, you guys, we don't have dollars. We don't have dollars here. We have loonies, which are $1, I guess, a coin, and we have punies, which is a $2 coin. So we don't have dollar bills here.
Wow.
That's why I said take the equivalent.
We kind of have weird money.
Like $5 US, whatever that would be.
Oh, we have a $5 bill. But yeah, Justin, hold up the money. They can see what our funny money looks like.
Is that the Queen?
Yeah.
That's the Queen.
Oh my God, you're holding.
Long live the Queen.
You're showing us a lizard.
49.
That's 20. You're rich.
Call your dollars the loonies, right? They're called loonies.
Yeah,
so
loonies.
So then your banks are loony bins, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so are ours.
All right, I'm gonna do
Or
it.
toonie bins. Yeah, because $2 bill is. Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, there you go.
So is it 3 buildings or 4 buildings that fell on 9/11?
3.
Well, I thought the trade center.
You don't
building
count
6 and
Pentagon.
7.
We don't count the Pentagon.
Those are too small. They were.
And those 2 buildings didn't suffer.
They're still standing.
Right, those 2 buildings didn't suffer full collapse.
Yeah,
only 3 buildings.
They only
suffered
had the
full collapse.
entire 2 towers fall on.
Can I get an extra large black, please?
And a double?
Yep.
Okay.
And an extra
Can I have
large
an extra
double?
short
Yeah, right.
light?
A
I want an
Timmy's
extra short light.
Just a second. Hey, listen, man. I'll give you $5 so you can answer this question right. How many towers fell on 9/11?
How many buildings?
No, sorry. 3. Take care. World Trade Center 7. Take a look.
Now you could buy a dozen donuts.
Yeah, I could have bought.
What do you say?
He said 2.
But you
Of course
asked
he said
towers.
2. They
Yeah, but you
always
said
say
towers.
2.
You asked towers, so it kind of wasn't really fair there.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I didn't.
Oh. I don't know. I mean, if you were to stick. Oh my gosh! I forgot my coffee, guys.
Go back.
Guys,
Thank you.
I was going to take my coffee.
Well, I wasn't even going for a coffee.
I'm embarrassed.
I wasn't even going for a coffee, so I totally forgot about it. It is a little embarrassing.
No,
but whatever.
okay.
But I don't know, Tower. If you were to stick,
We don't care.
You don't leave it Timmy's
but
behind.
you know what? I'd like to ask the semantics of that too, though. The tower. You said a tower for World Trade Center 7. Like, I mean, if you were to stick that building, I mean, how many stories was that?
47.
47.
Sorry.
That'd be
I'm
the
just gonna
second.
turn off my video now.
That would be the 3rd tallest building in Montreal.
Yeah.
Right. If you were to stick that in St. John's, Newfoundland, where I'm from, that's a tower. So I mean, you know what I mean. But is it? But I don't want to be misleading if I were to ever ask that question to somebody.
Actually, my brother is a freak, skyscraper freak, and so the tower refers to something like the CN Tower, for instance, or the London Tower, or
or the Husky Tower.
Yeah, a tower is not the same as a building. But a skyscraper is anything over 12 stories. So it is a skyscraper. So probably the best definition would be how many skyscrapers or how many buildings.
Right. That would be more exactly.
Yeah.
Buildings is the word you want to use.
And why I was laughing, of course, is because yes, the other smaller ones that were below were destroyed, but they were even partially standing still. Despite having the entire complex fall on them. Which just only goes to solidify how ridiculous Building 7 is.
Yeah.
So we know it wasn't. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
If you're gonna ask towers to anybody, I mean that's gonna just increase the chances of them saying towers, and it subliminally.
Buildings. It's used to what they use for the billboards. How many around Toronto and New York City and Times Square? Did you know that a third building fell?
Yeah, because technically towers, then two towers. And if you ask that question, that is the right answer.
Hey, I hear the band. I think they might be ready.
You owe him $5.
Hey, we're gonna.
Do I owe him $5?
No, yeah. Towers.
You're good.
No, you owe me $5.
Tower to me.
I'll give him $5.
No, you're good. Don't worry.
Especially since he gave me my coffee. And if I said that to somebody and like just took $5 away from him or whatever like that, I'd be like, dude, I'm totally drinking his coffee. When he calls me back, I'm gonna say, some good.
Well, Building 7 came right down, so that's a count.
He's losing connection, it seems.
You are right. I think it should, like the way it should be posed and the way I should have said it was building. So I hear you.
I think they know exactly what you're saying, so I wouldn't worry about it.
I think so. I think it got him thinking. And anyways, you should have saw his face. I didn't want to put him on camera, but
yeah.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. So one of these nights, you guys got to put me out there, and I'll just ask a bunch of people a bunch of questions.
That would be fun, guys. Anybody willing to do it? Let's do it. It'd be fun.
I'll do it.
Real fun. I think the band is ready. You guys ready now?
Can you hear us?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, good. I think we're ready now. We're gonna go through it. If
Awesome.
it sounds bad, it's because this recording setup right now is very hectic. But I think it'll work. If you like punk, I mean, it may end up sounding like that. So.
Hey, you guys, before you start, everybody please mute your microphones, just so that we get a nice, clean sound here. That would be awesome.
Mute? What do you mean?
No, not you.
Oh.
Not you guys. We want to hear you.
All right, awesome.
Okay, I think everybody's muted now, so just tell us the song that you're going to play and just go ahead.
All right, this song is called Swing. It is off our record called A Balancing Act, and we are Pace House. That swing.
Nice.
Very nice.
How does this sound?
Hey.
Can't really hear.
Hey.
Yeah, buddy.
Great job.
Woo.
Nice job, guys. Nice job.
Thank you.
I recognized the song right away because I heard it on your website the other day, and I was like, yeah, it's right away in my head. So fucking
Awesome.
good job.
Awesome. Do y'all want us to play more?
Yeah.
You want to play another? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Let's see what song they
Do
want to
it.
do. What song you want to do? I don't have the effects for it really. We can do creation. Hey, do y'all have any songs that y'all want us to play, want us to hear, that you've listened to?
Actually, yes.
Is there any particular one?
I gotta even remember the name of it though. Give me 1 second. How about the first cut off of your album?
The first one?
Yes.
Yeah, gotcha. It's called Creation. Thanks for listening. It was actually the first song we ever wrote, so put it on the beginning.
Natural state,
Yeah.
Nice.
Hey, buddy. Nice. Nice.
Nice job. Nice job.
Very good. Our producer in studio was grooving really good. I like that.
Yeah, I can see his head bobbing around.
Yeah, very good.
Awesome.
Great job.
Thank you.
Really great show, you guys. Everybody's really enjoyed it. I'm really glad everybody could come out tonight.
Absolutely. It was a lot of fun.
Thanks for listening.
Well, not the first half, but
Thank you, guys.
Well, we went from
Appreciate
doom
you
and
guys
gloom
coming on. That was
to
awesome.
upbeat and very yeah, it's great.
absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you all for having us.
Brian, you want to bring us out for tonight?
Oh, I guess I can if I must.
Yes. And where can we get some more?
Yes.
Plug their website for their music again.
Thank you.
You can learn more about Pace House at pacehouseband.com. That's their blog. From there, you can check out their music and bios about all the band members and etc. And is there anything else you guys would like to plug before we say goodbye?
You said say or play? Which one?
Say. Play.
You want to? If you want to play again, I don't. Do you guys mind if they play again?
Hell no.
You want to?
No way.
Fine. Play another one.
All right.
Keep
We'll
going.
Okay.
This is what we want.
How about "Don't Forgive to Live," and we can close it out with everybody remembering to don't forget to live.
That is crazy that you said that one because that is like our least played and least favoritized song. But if he wants to play, we'll play it.
Take care, guys.
Again, thank you everybody for joining us. We really appreciate you coming out.
Yeah.
Great job. Awesome.
Great job.
Good job, guys.
Awesome.
Great job.
Thanks for having us. Being patient with us, but hopefully it was worth the wait.
It was
The first
great,
Max
great
Resistance
playing, guys.
musical
Excellent.
performance, eh?
Yeah, yeah.
That's right.
And please sub their channel, Pace House Band. I put the link in the boxes, everybody's chat rooms, and show the band your support. Share their music, and show Fixed by Doc his support. Sub him, share his information, and we need to move forward, everybody, together, and we need to unite and not be fearful. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm still fearful.
Oh. Go wash your hands.
Good night, everybody.
And most important,